This is Simon Benoit of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you're listening to the Ladies Talking Leafs podcast.
Welcome to our first regular season episode of Leafs Quick Hits. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And the NHL's regular season has already started over in Europe with the Devils playing the Sabres in Prague. And apparently Sheldon Keefe has started his Jack Adams winning ways, I guess. And
4-0 in Europe.
Yeah. And the regular season in North America gets going on Tuesday. But before the season gets going for the Leafs, we checked out some betting odds from Bet Online for NHL player futures. No big surprise here that Austin Matthews shows up for 3 NHL trophies, the Rocket Richard, the Selke, and the Hart.
So Matthews is at plus 550 to win the Selke trophy, just behind Barkov, who is at plus 100. Obviously, being this season's winner. For the Rocket Richard, BetOnline has Matthews at minus 175, with Pasternak trailing quite far behind at plus 650. Matthews is also plus 800 to win the Hart Trophy. And of course, Connor McDavid is in the lead there at plus 150.
So covering all the major sports leagues, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and is your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games.
Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance to win weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, you can head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, betonline.ag, and use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, and get in on the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. Please gamble responsibly, though. If you or someone you know needs support or advice, you can reach out to Connex Ontario or an organization near you. Place your limits and stay within it.
So thanks to the Maple Leafs PR department, we had the opportunity to watch the Leafs practice last week, and we got to interview defenseman Simon Benoit.
Yes, Benoit was in the lineup for the Leafs' final preseason game versus the Red Wings, which most likely means he will be in the lineup for opening night versus Montreal Canadiens on Wednesday and the Leafs home opener on Saturday. Also, have a listen to the interview with Simon Benoit and his thoughts on the Leafs defense and his game going into the 24-25 season.
All right. So thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So we understand you're a new father.
Yes.
So how is that going? How's your little girl?
Pretty good. She's about 12 days old right now, so she's buzzing, I guess. It's going well. It's like a lot of adjustment for me and my girlfriend, the lack of sleep and all that stuff, trying to manage hockey in between all of this, but it's just fun time. We're happy and we're just excited to see her growing.
Excellent. And I guess the drinking the milk before bedtime, that's coming in handy for.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So last year you came onto the Leafs.
Yeah.
New guy, really fighting to make the team and all of that. This year, a little bit more stability.
Yeah.
How is it different for you coming into camp this season?
I think I have the same approach. Like for me, like last year I was fighting to get a spot, and I guess this year I'm fighting to keep my spot. So I think it's just the same approach. Keep working on my game, just trying to battle as hard as I can, and just continue improving myself. That's how I see it.
So from what Craig Berube, obviously he's a new head coach, and from what he's asked of the team and the defense, what can fans expect from the defense, like a different style of play, or is there anything?
Yeah, I think our height average has been different this year. We're a lot bigger.
Sure.
So I think we can expect just like a physical game, hard to play against, hard defensively, simple plays, hard, and nothing goes through us around the net. Just if you want to get to their net, it's going to be painful for them. So that's, I think, our approach here.
Definitely fits into your game very well, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right. So from your youth, going back to your time in Quebec, was there a player that you wanted to emulate or that you modeled your game after?
Not really. I mean, I grew up watching PK Subban, and my game is absolutely not like his. So Well, like when you grew up in Montreal, obviously you look up at Canadian, like you had like Markov and PK that I think they were great back then. So like for me, I would say those two guys. And obviously like Emelin used to play that a lot too. So like his type of like hip checks and stuff, I brought that into my game as well. So just like a bunch of players.
All right. So fun question now.
Yeah.
We all know about Toronto traffic.
Yeah.
So if you were stuck in a cab in traffic in Toronto, which teammate would you want to have with you and why?
I would say Timmings. I think me and Timmy always hang out together. He's a funny guy. Always, he shared the same coffee addiction that I have. So I think Timmy.
All right. So obviously for us as fans, we are like never more excited than the start of the season, going to Scotiabank Arena and like cheering you guys on for the first time. So getting ready for a new season, what is that like for you? Like, how does that feel for you when you're going to hit the ice at Scotiabank Arena for the first time in the season?
No, it's always exciting, you know, like everything. You can feel the excitement in the rink, in the atmosphere. So for me, it's just enjoying that moment. Well, like hockey season, it's always like a long season, but the first game is always special. And you try to embrace it as much as you can and get a win for the fans.
Well, we'll be looking out for that win.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on with us. Best of luck to you and your team for the season ahead, as we and Leafs Nation are going to be cheering you on from the stands and probably all across Canada or wherever, because we all travel. You know that.
Yeah.
So
well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, that was fun. He was very gentlemanly, like, shaking our hand when we first met him. And, yeah, it was a great interview. I liked how he said it's, I guess he was addicted to coffee is one thing that he said, which I am as well. And, just about his comments about the defense going into the year, how he said obviously they're going to be a lot bigger and it's going to be harder for teams to get past them. So that's a couple of the things that I took from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He seems, I also appreciated the comments that he made about, you know, the difference between, starting the season with the team last year versus this year. And that, you know, he doesn't seem to take it for granted either, that, you know, like last year he was, you know, fighting to make the team. This year, you know, he's got a contract, he's here, but he's still not taking for granted that he has a spot. So he's playing hard. And we could see that, last night. We were recording this on Sunday, that last preseason game versus, the Red Wings. You know, he was really throwing his body. Got a penalty here and there. But I think that's what, Berube wants to see from him and the decor. So, he was really gracious.
He had quite a few penalties, last year's preseason as well, which is maybe why he didn't make the team opening night lineup that year. But yeah, no. And it was interesting, his comments about the player that he models after. Like there's no, how he said there's no real 100% player that he wanted to be like, but I guess PK Subban was the one he mentioned, and Markov of the Montreal Canadiens. So I think that was kind of cool to find out something different about him.
Absolutely.
So moving on to the team as a whole now, there's still some business left to do for Brad Treliving and the Leafs, as they are still over just over 1 million over the cap right now. As it's Sunday, we're waiting for the Max Pacioretty signing right now, because apparently that's going to happen, but we'll see. And also Steven Lorentz, who's also on a PTO. He played really well in last night's game too.
I think he's played really well throughout the preseason, and I actually really love that fourth line, the way it looks with him and Reeves. They seem to have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
I can't see him not making the team, but as you said, that then something's got to give. So, you know, one person that is kind of on the bubble there, very sad. You know, when we saw him at the practice being interviewed too, like you could just see it, you could feel it, is Liljegren.
Yeah.
I think this style of play is really not as suited to his game, like, you know, what's being expected. And I think when a coach comes in like that and he wants them to hit, and you're not really that guy, it can really take you off of the things that you do really well, which for him is getting the puck out of the zone, his transition game, all of that. So yeah, I kind of feel for the guy. I don't know. Plus,
Right.
he's making
now,
$3 million now.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing too. But right now the only benefit for him being on the team is the fact he's a right shot.
And he's
right?
young. So
And
like, do you really want to give up on that guy? We've got a couple of old guys that are fill-ins this year, like, OEL or whatever, he plays different side or whatever. But,
and that's probably why too, Dubas at the time, he is a right shot defenseman, whereas Sandin, I guess, is left, right?
Yes.
He was left. So that's probably why because I was thinking the other day it might have been the wrong move to take one, or should have kept Sandin, maybe got rid of Liljegren, but then Liljegren has the right shot and everybody in the league basically is looking for right shot defensemen.
But there's no way they can't put him on waivers if they want to keep him, because he's never going to get through. It's not for sure not. So I don't know if he's going to be seeing a lot more time in the press box this year. They're going to need defensemen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. No, it's not a bad thing to have depth.
For sure not.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And once again, though, the William Nylander at center experiment appears to be over. Kristen Shilton's words to say that it depends on whether or not he wants it. I guess he doesn't want it, because last night
not bad enough, probably
not bad enough, because he was flying last night versus Detroit in that final preseason game on the wing. He looked, he had the puck all the time, and he wanted the puck all the time. It's just a natural for him, which makes sense. I mean, he's played at that position like forever, right?
Well, I mean, watching him in that first episode of Face Off, on Amazon, does he look like a guy that wants all that responsibility? I don't know. He's Mr. Chill. And I think he's just, you got to play people to their strengths. Yeah. I think, like Berube said, they're still going to be working on it. He's going to be still taking reps. He's going to be practicing some of those, skill sets that a centerman needs to have. Right. Just in case they need to make a move there. So, but he's probably not going to start the season at center, as we can see. Yeah. Just in case they need to, shift something somewhere at some point.
All right. So going into the first week of the opening, opening of the season, what's the good that you kind of went through Liljegren there and kind of a negative? What's the good thing that you're looking at for the team going into this week?
I'm really liking the goaltending depth that we have right now. I think that any one of these guys, you put them in there, Murray, I don't know. I think he's still a work in progress, but he's an experienced guy as a third option. And Hildeby, we saw that they could call him up at any time, and he's a great option as well. I think, Wall being beat on that first goal, like we haven't hardly seen him at all in preseason. But, I think in no time at all, he's just, I don't know, his demeanor is great. And Stolarz, I mean, I wasn't sure what to 100% expect, because he hasn't had that many games, but just watching him, he's like such a big guy, moves well. I've been pretty impressed so far. So I think we're going to be pretty solid there right now. And what I'm liking is not just the way they play on the ice, is the type of personalities. We've gone through 2 seasons where we've had very emotional roller coaster up and down type of guys with, Campbell, who is now in the players assistance program, Sammy, who is like an emotional roller coaster. These guys, everybody that we have right now seems very even keel, and we need that, just calmness back there. And so I think that is going to pay huge dividends. And as for any other question marks I have, I mentioned Liljegren, but I also have a bit of a question mark with Max Domi. He's been a little bit invisible to me in this camp so far. I just feel like last year he really came to life when he was playing with Matthews. And I wonder still if that's the best spot for him. But we could see in practice the other day that, he and Willie are really working on, they are definitely the pair on that line with JT. So they're working on their chemistry and they're really talking a lot. So we'll see where
Probably
that goes.
Anybody would be feeling great beside Matthews on the right
Yeah,
on the
for
on
sure.
the
But
wing,
there was like a
'Cause-
real spark there somehow, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that top line is pretty set with Nyes being there, and he's
for sure. And they were flying last night. So I just found it really interesting that, they were also, okay, pretty good. But last night, they knew it's the last game. It's like they decided to turn it up. Like the dial went to like 100 and they looked awesome, all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Matthew said after the game, like it's been a few games. Obviously, he hasn't played, right? And so the first period was kind of feeling it out, sort of thing, getting the legs underneath him, and then after that, it was just like whatever, all blazing down the ice there, and the opportunities and that shot. It was just unbelievable how he just got that one-timer off. But it's only preseason, so
absolutely. And I will say too, like another thought just from the practice that we watched is definitely, they've been saying that it's high tempo, good intensity. Like really it was like, I was so impressed with how hard everybody worked, and it was such a high tempo practice, lots of physicality. It was really, really great to have the opportunity to see that.
Yeah, and interesting too. Willie was the first one on the ice.
Yes.
And he also stayed afterwards with Max Domi. Like he was, whatever. They were just practicing their shots and passing and stuff like that. So that was great to see. And Matthew Nyes also stayed out there later. And the guy we were interviewing too, he was like almost the very last person.
He's one of the last guys, So that's good. Good for us. God, we were able to compose ourselves. Having
we patiently waited for him.
Absolutely. Anyway, for you, what's your question mark and what's your good thing going into the season?
So my question mark is that third line center with Pontus Holmberg. Looks like he's been penciled in for now. I'm just hoping Craig Berube can kind of, I mean, he's played very limited. I think he had 38 games from what I looked up here on 38 games in the hang on a sec. Anyways, he played like 38 games a couple of seasons ago with the Leafs and then went down to the Marlies. And then last year he played like 54 games with the Leafs.
Yeah, and it was kind of flipping back and forth between wing and center as well. Like he wasn't always in the middle of the ice.
So it's kind of like seems to be still a work in progress with him. I mean, he's young, right? So he's still developing. That's the thing. I guess if Craig Berube can develop him into that third line center, that would be fantastic. But I just don't know if it's going to work that way. Because last night he was, I guess the projected lineup is to have him between Robertson and Bobby McMahon as the third line.
So then where the heck is Pacioretty supposed to go? Like, that's like another question mark.
Yeah, that's the...
I don't really understand. And, you've got Yarncroke. He's hurt right now.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about him. He's not even mentioned here on the projected lineup. Yeah.
There's just too many bodies.
Yeah, so that's why we said off the top, Treliving has some work to do to figure this out. Something's got to give. And then and that actually center position too, not just third line center, but leads into the power play. In the second power play unit, we don't really have anybody as a true center.
That's right.
Right. Like, I mean, Domi's probably going to be in there on that.
Yeah.
But he's not, I don't know. He's going to be wing on the regular, like the second unit with JT and Willie. And then he's going to play center on the power play, on the second power play. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why
there's a gaping hole there. And and last year too, our third line really was the line that just never came together for some reason. Like it just was not, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess the good thing, finally, 1 year, I don't know how many years is the defense. I am liking the way the defense is shaping up. It is big. Yes, they're older, right? But
more experience.
And we have the depth, which we mentioned there, sort of thing. So there is maybe Liljegren can get it together a little bit as the as the
Yeah.
season gets going and gets on, and when he gets an opportunity, right, there'll be some competition there, so everybody will want to.
Exactly. Like it never
Yeah.
hurts to have people still, really fighting for ice throughout the season, right?
Yeah. So, that's my good thing. And going back to actually Anthony Stollards, I did have it in my mind for the goaltending too, all on the back end, which is nice to have some positives on the back end of this team for a change.
Yes, absolutely.
Stollards had that 30 save shutout versus the Wings in Detroit for the preseason. So he's really impressed me as well. But so I mean, they're starting off 3 games in 4 nights. So
Yeah, that's basically
Right,
baptism by fire.
yeah, they're gonna. I mean, it's a back-to-back situation. You never know. Maybe Liljegren will get in the game in New Jersey or something like.
I think that they're going to have to look too at who their opponent is and style of play and stuff. And then there'll be, nights where it may be better to have a guy like that. That's a really good puck mover, like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sorry, but we gotta win off the top, like these bottom teams. Like, I mean,
for sure.
Maybe the home opener in Montreal. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we can get it done for both of those games, both at the Bell Center and our home opener on Saturday night. But we definitely have to win. We have to split that 2-game set, because this whole idea of losing to bottom feeders and losing points.
I would like to win both of those games.
Yes, yeah.
And we show them what's what, considering, all of the vitriol online and all the nastiness and, wanting to come after our players and everything.
Yeah.
I'd like to put them in their place where they belong, which is at the bottom of the league. So, that would be the way I'd like to see this week go.
Yeah. But then we'd be 3-0, because I think personally we should also win versus New Jersey, because they're coming back from the European trip, right? So
for sure. And of course, previous coach and all of that stuff
and all that.
So it's going to be an interesting week right off the hopper.
Yeah.
But absolutely winning against those lower teams.
Yeah.
That is what I'm going to be looking for. Because if we can start winning those games, that will show me that there has been some sort of change in identity,
Yeah. And last year it probably, I don't know for sure, but it probably would have given us first place in the division.
For sure.
And that's what we need to do to avoid playing these Boston or Tampa or whoever. But, yeah.
Well, it could end up being Tampa. This year anyways, because they probably will finish lower than they have before. So anyway,
we'll see.
Okay, so that's a wrap on this Leafs Quick Hits episode. We'll be posting photos and video of the Leafs practice on our Ko-fi page. And speaking of Ko-fi, you can help us out by visiting and following our Ko-fi page at Ko-fi.com. And if you choose to, you can support us by buying us a coffee. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. So you can find the link to our Ko-fi page on our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
Yeah, and be sure to leave us a comment on YouTube or on social media. Our handle is at LTL1917. Listen to us on the Believe Network at Believe.com. It's BLEAV.com. And be sure to hit that follow button wherever you listen or watch our show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite app. And we thank our healthcare workers and first responders for everything that they do.
We thank you as well, always, for listening to and watching Ladies Talking Leafs, presented by Bet Online. Till next time, go Leafs,
go. Leafs, go.
Do you believe?